SpaceX Starlink's high-performance kit no longer comes with a router. Did they give you a discount? Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Right now we have some fireside. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a technology day. In some of the lives, I've been getting questions about using the high-performance dish in comparison to the standard dish. Will you get faster speeds? Also, is it a lot more expensive? So on and so forth. And, well, I want to answer those questions for you today, but also I want to make you aware of something that SpaceX just did, and that was no longer provide you with a router when you purchase the high-performance dish. Now, if you don't know what the HP or high-performance dish is, basically it is a business class dish, a corporate dish, let's say. It's also used for maritime. It's also used on the top of RVs and trucks and whatnot. And it points straight up. And it's larger. So instead of being rectangular in shape, it is more square. So it's like 20 inches by 22 inches. Once again, square. So it sees more of the sky. So instead of having an angle of, let's say, 120 degree is what it captures like 140 degrees. So it ends up not having to be leaned or angled in a certain direction. The standard dish, like my Mr. Bevel, needs to be still angled towards the north because I'm in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, your dish is going to angle more to the south. That's just simply how it goes. Whereas with these, they can point straight up. Once again, a larger viewing angle. Now, it also provides better rain fade, less rain fade, because once again, it is just larger. It can bring in a lot more signal. Now, in the last JC Live that I did on Friday, if you guys don't know, Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually I'm here with my wife. Last week I wasn't because she was busy, but tonight we will be live, JC Live. Anyways, some of you guys asked me at the time, listen, I want to get the HP or the high performance version, but I'm hearing rumors that it's no longer going to come with a router. Is that true, Joe? And I said I was going to research it. And I'd read a bunch of articles and I found out, as of a couple of days ago, the answer to that is no. You're no longer going to get a router with your HP or high performance bundle. So one of the articles I read was over on PC Magazine. I want to read some of that for you just so you know what's going on. And then what I want to do is get into SpaceX Starlink and try to order one of these to see what our options are. There's a bunch of new options that weren't there before, which I think is very interesting. All right, so stay tuned to that. Now, before we get into the article, as well as giving you my commentary, and then after that, I want to hear from you down in the comment area. If you enjoy this video, even in the least, throw it a thumbs up. That'll be very helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not. If you are, thank you so much. Click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. If you want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there's a thank you button. You can click on that, give $1 or $2. That'd be fantastic. If not, that's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks, check them out. They're free. Go to JCristina.com/books. And finally, if you want more Starlink content, helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to buy, what not to buy, how to do this, how to do that, and the why behind all of it, check out this playlist. When you're done watching this video, don't click it now. When you're done watching, rewind back, click on that. You will be taken to a playlist of 270 plus videos just on Starlink. So check those out. So let's jump into this article and then we'll get into ordering one, or at least attempting to see what our options are. So the article starts out by saying, SpaceX Starlink is no longer bundling a Wi-Fi router with its flat high performance or HP dish, forcing users to pay for the additional hardware. The additional hardware would be a Generation 3 router, which no longer comes with the bundle. SpaceX Starlink's site says this, quote, "Please note, flat HP kits no longer include a router." Instead, buyers will need to spend an extra $250 on the recently released Generation 3 Wi-Fi router to pair with the high-performance dish. That's on top of the $2,500 dish price. There is no price drop for unbundling the router. Interesting, right? So you have to buy a router, right? Or you have to use your own. It's $250. But if you don't get one because it's unbundled, you don't get a discount either. So basically, it's kind of like a price hike, right? No matter how you look at it. Anyways, it continues. The Starlink website does not explain the change. SpaceX did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Users on Facebook and YouTube first noticed the change. On a plus side, buyers shouldn't have trouble pairing the high-performance flat panel performance dish with the third-party router since it connects to its own power supply, which has an Ethernet cable port. This is really important. It has a PoE injector. I'll get into that in just a second. Users who want to bundle a router can also consider buying the flat panel high performance dish from an authorized SpaceX reseller such as West Marine, which is still selling the dish with a Generation 2 router for $2,499. Basically what that means is if you want to get a router, an actual SpaceX router, one of their Generation 2, the previous one, there is some people that have supply out there, and if you locate them, you can still get it for the $2,499, which includes the older router. The unbundling occurred as SpaceX has been tweaking prices for their Starlink internet service. Last week, the company told some subscribers in the US that they'll be paying $120 per month for their service, an increase from $90, citing changes in capacity limits in their area. I told you about that in last video. Take a look over here. I'll put a link to that video. I was speaking about how if you are in a location that previously was considered having excessive or excess capacity, well, you had a $90 bill every month. Well, now that area now has a lot of people in it because now they're at 2.9 million customers in comparison to just 1 million, for example. Your price is going to go up. So you're going to be paying the same as all of us, $120 per month. Now, anyone that is sitting at $120 a month for residential, their price didn't go up. And I speak about that once again in that video. Check that out. SpaceX introduced the flat panel performance dish in 2022. It's designed to work on the rooftop of RVs and ships, in addition to supplying satellite internet to businesses. Broadband service for dish starts at $140 per month. So let's get over to the Starlink webpage. What we're going to do is we're going to make believe we're going to order one of these right now so that we can see what we're going to get and how much is it all going to cost. Is it going to be worth it or not? So let's go to starlink.com, and then what we want to do is click on business at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an address to a shopping center near me in West Palm Beach. This is Wellington. Let me see if it pops up. It does. There you go. All right, let's click on order now. And it should give us the ability to order one of these larger dish or the high performance dish. And there it is. So what I do find interesting here is here we have the flat panel. It's $2,500. If we click on here, we can see the image changed. And this is what the standard looks like. Now, this is a Generation 3 router. This is what you do not get. So let's click back over to flat panel or high performance. There it is, done. So $2,500. Now, I didn't know that they had this option. You have own, which is that $2,500, or we can click on rent. Very interesting. Now, it doesn't matter if you rent or own, it's still going to be $140 for 40 gigabytes, or for 1 terabyte or 1,000 gigabytes, $250, or $500 per month for the 2 terabyte option. Now, those terabyte options are for priority service. Keep that in mind. Very, very important. You just don't get 2 terabytes and then it just shuts off. Or you don't just get 40 gigabytes and then it shuts off. The way it works is you get, let's say, 40 gigabytes for your $140, but then after you get past that, you go from priority service to regular standard service. So you're not going to get that priority access where you get faster speeds. If there is congestion, you're going to slow down just like everyone else. But your service is not going to go out. Like if you're using HughesNet or Viasat, you're just going to have to keep paying more and more. That's not what happens with SpaceX Starlink. Now, what we can see here is the service per month. Let's say for this $250 plan, you can see you'll be paying $250 a month and then a $200 activation charge. So your monthly bill would be $250 service plus the $99 rental fee. So let's make it an even $350, let's say, per month. That is for rental. I didn't even know that this was an option. So let's go back to own. Now we're gonna own our dish. Instead of standard, we're gonna go back to high performance. Now we have some options here. Once again, you have the same priority access for 40 gigabytes or 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes, the exact same price. It doesn't matter which plan you get, either a rental or a buyout plan. So if we buy the dish for $2,500, we do have optional accessories. Now this is what's important. You have your pipe adapter for $120, but then you also have your Generation 3 Wi-Fi router. This used to be included. This was not an option just a couple of days ago. So if we leave this out, if we come down to the bottom here, all right, we can see what the cost would be. Service fee, $140 because we have the lower plan, which is that 40 gigabytes. The hardware would be $2,500 and the shipping and handling would be $50, tax of nearly $200. So you have $2,728.50. Now, that's pretty damn expensive. But if we want the Generation 3 router too, let's go ahead and select that. Look what happens to our bill. So we are now going to pay nearly $3,000 for this kit. The monthly will still remain the $140 per month with this specific service plan, but it could be the $250 or the $500, whichever one you desire. So really interesting, because I didn't even know that there was a rental option out there. What I did also find out, digging in a little bit deeper, guys, is that they're going to provide you with, when you rent, a used or a refurbished dish. Keep that in mind. The good thing about SpaceX Starlink is when they give you a refurbished anything, it's just like if it was new. You have a full coverage on it, full warranty. So if there's a problem, don't worry about it, okay? So I don't mind getting something from SpaceX Starlink that is used or refurbished because they do have that type of service plan. Now let me hop back over to my screen real quick, and I want to show you what comes in the box, because some people have asked me this and it's like, I didn't know until I looked this up. Now I can share it with you. So as you can see here, it's going to come with this square, let's call it the high performance dish. This is, like I said, about, let's call it 20 inches, 22 inches, right around there, square. Then you get this wedge mount. Now people are like, well, I thought it was flat. Well, it's kind of flat, but it just has a slight pitch to it. And that's so that any type of rain or snow or whatever melting off, anything can roll off it, so it's not perfectly flat. That's the reason for that wedge. You also have this power supply. Now this power supply is very interesting. I'll get to that in just a second. Now you have a power supply mount, and then you have a cable. Now this cable is 25 meters. It used to be like a lot shorter, like 20 feet or something, 26 feet. It is now 82 feet. Some people that have RVs are going to be like, what the hell do I do with all this? Other people that use it for camping is like, this is awesome. So you're going to get a longer cable going forward. You also have a 5 meter or 16.5 foot Ethernet cable. That's probably like a Cat 5e or Cat 6 cable. And then finally, you have your AC or your power supply cable, which is 6 foot. Now let me show you what this brick looks like. And I remember I was telling you about this brick and I said it was a PoE injector. So what's important about this is like a classic PoE or power over Ethernet injector. So you have AC power going into this brick. You have your data. This is another line here, which comes through your Cat 5, Cat 6 cable that goes into this brick. And then finally, you have the cable that goes out to the modem or out to the dish itself. All right. So this is all encompassing instead of it being within the router. Okay. This is the way like a Generation 1 used to be. You had a router, then you had the PoE, the injector, and then you had the dish. Well, with the Generation 2, they did away with the PoE injector and they built it into the router. With this setup, it's taken out. So it's separate. This is great. What this means is, matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up a schematic so you can see what this, there we go. Let me see. Can we zoom in a little bit? We can. There we go. So this is how it would be powered, or this is how it would be set up. This is your high performance dish. You have your PoE injector and you have your 3 cables. This one cable in the center, you can see with the little lightning bolt, that's your power cable. The one to the right here is your Cat 5e, or let's call it a Cat 6, Cat 8, whatever. They're using a Cat 5e right now, which is a 25 AWG line. I would like to see thicker cable, but whatever. This is the cable that would connect to your third-party router if you didn't want to use their router. All right. And then finally, you have the cable that goes from the PoE injector out to the dish. So what this thing is doing is it's taking your data, all right, and it's taking the power and now injecting it both through that one single line. So this way the dish doesn't have to have a power cord as well as a data cable, right? It only has one. Once again, PoE, power over Ethernet. So this is really kind of cool. I'm glad that they're doing this because it just simply makes sense. They should have stuck with this way back with the version 2s. They should never have went from the version 1 to the version 2 or generation 2 where they put it all inside of the router. Then they changed things up. There was no reset button. There was no more Ethernet connection. You had to buy an Ethernet dongle. Just stop. The dongleification of everything, really damn annoying. Anyway, so this is really good that they've done this. And I like this because what this means is you could use any third-party router. And that is what is important here, guys. If you're going to be purchasing one of these high-performance dishes, anyways, you're going to want your own third-party router. You're not going to use their basic router for the most part. You're going to use like a PepLink or some other type of high-performance router for whatever you're doing, right? So the way they have it set up, it just makes sense. You could just use whatever you want. Now, the only problem that I'm having here is that there is a price hike going on. Now, the other question that I've gotten many times on the JC Live show is, if I buy this high performance dish, am I going to get high performance speeds if I'm using my standard $120 per month standard service or residential service? And the answer to that is no. The speeds are not going to be different. Okay, they're going to be the same because you're not paying for higher speeds. The only thing that will be different is that you will not have to angle it. You'll be able to point it straight up. If there is any type of change going on with SpaceX Starlink, you're not going to have to go up there like the Generation 4s with the little kickstand and now point the dish. You don't have to do that. It points straight up. And that's it. Once again, it's viewing 140 degrees instead of 120 degrees, so it can see a greater swath of the sky. Also, you're going to have a reduction in rain fade. So if you have a lot of rain in your area, snow, and all the rest of this stuff, this bigger dish just simply does a better job of cutting through, obviously, because it's larger. So that's really all that you're going to be getting from it. So if you have standard service, residential service, do not look to buy this for $2,500. It's not going to help you enough to be worth it. Now, if you do want a high performance, faster speeds, well, this is going to give it to you. You're going to get faster speeds with this corporate or business plan of $140 per month for 40 gig or 1 terabyte for that $250 a month or the $500 a month for the 2 terabytes. But remember, they are still unlimited plans. You're going to have the priority service at the beginning until you exhaust that amount that you're buying every month. For the rest of the month, you'll have standard, let's say, service. You won't have the priority. You're still going to have the faster speeds. But if there's congestion, you will still be where everyone else is. You're not going to be prioritized. So that being said, you will get faster speeds. I'm finding that there's people that are maritime that have this unit on boats that are getting 300, 400, 500 megabits down. 30, 40, sometimes 50 megabits up, literally in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so it's no joke, extremely fast if you have the moolah to spend on it. So anyways, guys, I hope you found this interesting. If you have, throw the video a thumbs up. That'll be very helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. If you are, thank you. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and all of the merch. Pick something up if there's something there that you like. Check out my shirts, check out my tees, all of my photography products that I've invented over the years. You can find them B&H on my website, JCristina.com. support me and my family. I would appreciate it. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.